Welcome back, my friends, to my channel and to another creative video. In today's video, I am sharing with you a process that I absolutely love incorporating into my own creative work over here, and it is what I call intuitive doodling. Now, I love using this process when I kind of want to unwind, or I don't necessarily want to think too hard, or I want to even practice using my gut or my intuition. This is for those of you out there who maybe don't know where to start, and this is a great icebreaker if you enjoy doodling, if you enjoy surface design and playing around with different tools and materials. And within this process, what I really enjoy doing is using a lot of mark making, squiggles, expressive brush strokes that can then inform my surface design and treatment and those doodles further on down the road. So I'm using a little bit of watercolors, a little bit of black ink with a fan brush. I'm also going to be scribbling a little bit on this surface, and I like to think of this beginning as just giving yourself a foundation to work around, in between, alongside. So again, we are really working with intuition, just letting marks, squiggles, lines guide the next step that comes on that surface. And I typically like to create a surface that has a lot of different things happening. Everything from those bold brush strokes to squiggles to maybe going around with some interesting shapes. My goal at this stage is to usually break up space. And this initial foundation looks a little bit wild. It looks a little bit childlike and playful, but it is a really fun foundation for informing whatever comes next. And what I love to do is pull out all of my pencil pouches, pen pouches, all of my favorite doodling supplies, and have a big old stack next to me and start playing around with all of this space. And what I enjoy doing is challenging myself to basically fill up everything in between lines, in between or around or inside of shapes that I've created, alongside of lines. My goal is to really just have fun using my intuition, just letting the shapes kind of guide me along the way. And for this particular surface, I've really used some of my really basic doodles that I tend to utilize a lot on my simple surfaces. Everything from scallops on edges to some geometric shapes. You'll also notice as you watch me work through this process, it's going to change a lot, but I tend to work alongside a lot of those shapes with a lot of lines or repeating lines. These are really simple ways. If for any reason doodling is new to you or drawing feels a little uncomfortable, this is a great way to break the ice, to feel a little bit comfortable, even if you're not at the point where you feel comfortable drawing. It's a fun way to play around with space and start challenging yourself to fill all of those lines, those shapes, those spaces, nooks, and crannies in a really relaxed way. And what I tend to do is I go in without a plan. I honestly don't know how this is going to evolve when I start. I simply like to grab a pen as I go and see what I can come up with inside of some of those shapes, those little nooks and crannies, again, along the edges of some of those squiggles and lines, and start working my way across that surface. I really enjoy having fun with colorful markers for this process as well. I'm a maximalist over here. I love fitting and cramming a lot of different things onto one surface. And that also goes for color. I tend to enjoy using all sorts of colors, anything that I grab that I just feel like using in that moment. I don't go in with a color plan or some kind of color combination. I simply have fun seeing what I can play around with when it comes to the colors that I select. I often let myself just quickly pick things, and that's another way that you can practice tapping into your intuition and your gut. Instead of overthinking, instead of sitting there looking at all your colors, trying to make a plan, I always like to recommend just really picking something really fast and seeing what happens. The worst that's going to happen is it maybe won't look right, but the best that can happen is you find a little bit of information, or you find colors that work, or you just really have fun in the moment experimenting. I tend to go for all the colors of the rainbow that I can try to fit into a surface like this because for me it's just fun and it's a really fun way to start filling that space. As the surface develops, I have lots of really fun shapes that continue to evolve and change. I have a lot of fun squeezing in little shapes, motifs, and designs, little doodles here and there, as well as coloring inside of some of those spaces and shapes that are slowly forming as I continue to add stuff to this surface. These types of intuitive doodles for me are really fun if I am wanting to just relax. This is often something I might do while I'm watching a movie or listening to a podcast or audiobook. It's really fun to do because you don't have to be thinking or planning too much along the way. It's really all about letting that surface evolve and move and letting you make decisions with each step of the way. Often when I add a new doodle or a motif squeezed into somewhere, it creates more space for me to either color or add more designs around or inside of. I'm notorious for going back in and adding circular shapes or maybe little triangles throughout. And then I can go over the top of those things that I add with maybe finer pens or a different color and can continue to add layers of details and embellishments. Now, I tend to get really detailed with surfaces like this, but this one I wanted to keep relatively simple just so y'all could see how far you can take something like a dot, a circle, or a line. But depending on your skill level and what you enjoy doing, how much time you have, you can really have fun with those designs. Everything from really intricate motifs and embellishments to maybe playing around with some of your favorite symbols. There are so many different ways that you can go intuitive with that doodling and work with a surface like this. But what I love so much is having those initial brush strokes, those initial squiggles and lines to break up all that space and give you so much fun options to work with as that surface develops and moves forward. You'll notice that this will take on a completely different look and feel as I continue to doodle and play around with that space. And I'm hoping that this really simple process inspires you just a little bit to pull out your favorite pens, your favorite surface, and have a little bit of fun letting go of stress and just simply playing with color, with mark making, with lines, and really tapping into that intuition. I'm gonna let you all watch me continue to work and then finish this surface. If for any reason doodling really sounds appealing or it's something you want to dive more into, I offer numerous doodling classes over in my online shop. Classes with unlimited access, work at your own pace. So if you're wanting to dive more into doodling, into using your intuition or playing around with prompts, I've got lots of different choices at any given point if for some reason you feel like taking this a step further.